Dude,
All right.
it's a dung beetle. I've never seen one of those in real life.
Yeah, that is an actual dung beetle doing what dung beetles do.
What's up, bro? I've only seen these guys in documentaries.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job. I could never do that. Walk backwards while rolling something behind me.
Yeah, that'd be difficult.
Pretty
Well,
difficult.
look at his little buddy. Like, hey, where'd my poop ball go? We're here in the Chaparral biome, hiking down a off-road trail. Now, off-road trails are controversial everywhere that they're made, whether it's state parks, national parks, even private property. Then sometimes off-road trails are controversial. And I'll show you one just obvious reason right here. If you look behind me, then you'll see well, several things that are different between the rest of the Chaparral and where the road is. Obviously, you notice the difference in grass. This is a different grass species that has been allowed to grow right here because it's been opened up. It's different than the rest of the grass, right? Now, you might be thinking, well, biodiversity is good, right? Well, sometimes. In this case, particularly in sensitive habitats like Chaparral that have very extreme climates and therefore very extreme, very specialized organisms that live there, then opening it up to some new species coming in may not always be a good idea. They can become an invasive exotic. And invasive exotics in an ecosystem like Chaparral can be very dangerous because all the organisms that live here are so specialized because of the extreme climate. Now, if you remember, the biomes are all the ecosystems that have the same climate. And then climate controls the temperature fluctuation. Like today, here in the Chaparral, we're going to see about a 35-degree fluctuation in temperature. It's going to go from the low 70s up to like 107 today. And so you see these huge temperature fluctuations. There's very little water, and that's the next thing I'm going to talk about with these roads is they affect hydrology. But there's very little water, because the water is so limited and the dry seasons are so long and the fires are so prevalent, all Chaparral ecosystems are adapted to fire, then all the organisms that live here are very, very specialized. But when you get an invasive exotic, it can ruin the entire ecosystem and completely take over with these sensitive organisms. Now, hydrology. The hydrology of the ecosystem has to do with how water flows, where it goes, how often it shows up, all those things, all those questions about water. Now, roads affect hydrology in a serious way. They give a place for water to run as opposed to soaking down in, right? If you're a water droplet and you fall out there, you're much more likely to soak into the root zone. And if you're a water droplet and you fall right here, you're gonna run right down the road off into that lake over there, and you're never gonna go into the water. The groundwater recharge is different. The erosion is different. These become flash floods very quickly and erode the banks or the sides of these ridges extremely quickly. So the hydrology changes as soon as you build an off-road track or off-road trail, then it starts modifying the ecosystem. And that's why that particularly in the tundra, in the Chaparral, rainforest, places like that, these sensitive habitats that are not conducive to habitat generalists. These are all specialists that live here. So when you make these off-road trails, then it can really start to make small changes that are huge changes in a sensitive habitat.